Hey guys, welcome back. I'm here with another book review, and this week I have Bobby and Jackie, a love story by C. David Heymann. I have the book here, but fun fact, I've actually had this book since it came out in like 2009, and at some point in the ensuing years, the entire cover got ripped up, so I had to take it off. So it just looks like a black book, but you can see on the you can see on the spine. So I do have this book, and I think I had read it before. I'm pretty sure that I had read it before, but I didn't remember anything about it. So it was time for a reread, and this is the light, frivolous book that I have been telling you guys that I was going to read. I ended up giving this book 3 stars, which might be a little bit generous, because this book did not do what it promised me. So the premise of this is that Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, who was married to JFK, and Robert Francis Kennedy, who was JFK's brother, had a relationship after the death of the president, and it went on until RFK was also assassinated. That is the premise of this book. It promises that it has things from like the Secret Service documents and the FBI files that were released with the Freedom of Information Act. And I mean, maybe it has that, but there is a part about halfway through the book where he says, well, all the Secret Service documents from this time have disappeared. So where did you get your information? The worst part is there are like 50 pages of notes in the back of this book. And it's broken up by chapter in some places, but it doesn't tell you like a lot. It might be like interviews for this chapter and then just lists like 8 people, but there's no way to see those interviews or anything else. But let me tell you about this book. All right, so we start out with the assassination of JFK, and then we go to a little bit of like him and Jackie's life together, just Jackie's life, just his life, and a little bit of Bobby's life, and so on. So we get a lot of background. I mean, like 5 chapters in a 13 chapter book of background, and then it's a lot of gossip and everything, a lot of he said, she said. And let me be 100% real with you. I love gossipy history, okay? That is my favorite kind of history. I love gossip. I love like all the scandals. I absolutely love it. I thought this was the book for me. But the thing is, as many times as he promises that this was like a concrete thing that happened, they were in love, they had this like long like star-crossed lovers relationship or whatever, there's really no proof. The proof is people said it like after so apparently was like a well-known secret between Kennedy insiders and basically everyone else, and no one would even talk about it until after Jackie had passed away in 1994. And then everybody was like, we can put this in like books and all this. And I do not remain convinced. Honestly, I don't really feel like it matters that much either. But I did want to read this because it was like quite gossipy. And I needed something light after Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee and Waco. So I was like, let me just read this little gossipy book. It's only like 187 pages. And it was fine. It is gossipy. It reads very much like a National Enquirer or a People magazine. It's very like he said, she said, so and so saw this, and he cites the sources. He tells you these people's names, but it almost starts to feel like he's just name dropping because Jackie Kennedy, before and after like all of this with JFK and the illusions of something with RFK, everything. She hung out with a little bit of everyone. She had a very wide social circle, and they weren't just politicians. They were artists and writers and actors and models and lords and ladies and like princes. Like she hung out with a lot of really important people. So he talks about a lot of those people. I did spend a fair amount of time Googling them to see like who they were, which was fun. So you can mark that as something to do if you end up reading this book. But it was not, I will say, it might sound like it might be slightly scandalous because it's called Bobby and Jackie, a love story. It's not scandalous at all. There's like zero scandal in this book. It is basically a light biography of both Jackie and Bobby, which C. David Heymann wrote biographies of the both of them. So this is like a little light biography that makes some allusions to their romance while also being somewhat catty. Now, one big complaint that I had, and it might not like bother you, is this man is vicious. Like C. David Heymann is absolutely vicious to everyone that he writes about. So yeah, he's not biased, but like he's making fun of literally everyone. All of the Kennedys, which is like fair, but I mean, of course, like that's just a thing that happens that no one's perfect. And that comes across very hard here that no one is perfect, but he's like vicious about all the Kennedys, about pretty much every president surrounding JFK, all the way down to like Jimmy Carter, who was years later. um, Pretty much everyone that they meet, Bobby, Jackie, vicious about everyone. The only person that he's like relatively nice about is maybe Rose Kennedy, the mother, and Ted Kennedy. I mean, he does like mention Chappaquiddick and everything, but he's like relatively nice about Ted throughout the book. But everyone else, and the children, he's not rude about children, but about everyone else, he's just vicious. And I feel like it's kind of unnecessary. Most of these people are no longer with us, and it doesn't really seem like bashing them in a book about a love story was really the way to go. I'm holding this like you can see the cover. Sorry. But yeah, he's just kind of rude, it seemed to me like, and I really just feel like this was a way to sell a book because he'd already written the biographies. But with that being said, I thought it was fine. It was very gossipy. It was easy to read because of that. I stopped a lot because I was looking up all the different people that we talk about throughout. But this basically covers Bobby and Jackie's life from the time of JFK's assassination to the time of Bobby's assassination. So that's like 5 years and 187 pages. So you don't get, in my opinion, a lot of in-depth information, but it is an easy read. And I have a strange fascination with the Kennedys. I always am like wanting to read about them or like watch something. So I do have a couple other Kennedy biographies on my TBR. They are not like this. I think one is called, and they called it Camelot, and another is, I don't remember the other name of it, but I saw it on there the other day. So maybe once I get around to reading those, we can kind of compare a bunch of Kennedy biographies, see if it's normal for like the writers to just be kind of nasty, see if it's normal to not really give a lot of actual information, just kind of gossipy details. We can try that out if I ever get to reading those. But yes, this week was Bobby and Jackie, a love story. I'm already reading the book that I have for next week as well. It is about one of my favorite topics. So I will see you guys next week. Bye.